changed because I got into the junior company and then the second company. And so once I got into the companies, I never came back home.
So what was like your favorite part, like throughout your career? Like was it like the dancing or the acting, singing? What was your particular favorite part of it all?
Well, that was difficult because when I was at my performing arts high school, I did all three disciplines. I sang, I acted, I danced. I was in West Side Story and Bye Bye Birdie, and I had a kind of triple threat education, you know. But then my father put his foot down because I was spread so thin. I contracted pneumonia, I think, in the 10th grade, and I was doing everything. You know, I was doing my academics and my homework. I was taking classes outside of my school at Atlanta Ballet and at school. I was in the touring show. I was, you know, in any production that I was cast in. And, you know, I ran my little body down, and my father was like, look, you're going to have to make a choice. You said you wanted to be a dancer. That takes a full commitment. So I pulled out of the musical theater and committed to dance.
Dance.
So the first part of my career was solely concert dance, and then I did Fame and danced on as a dancer. And when I did Fame, that was the first time I saw the other things you could do with dance, other than concert dance.
So that would like led you into the whole acting part of it?
Yeah, I missed it. I missed, you know, I didn't particularly like dancing behind Coco. I wanted to be Coco.
Yeah.
I was like, I could sing that.
Right.
I could have done that scene.
Right.
How was it with working with Debbie Allen?
Debbie is a workhorse.
Yeah.
Now, because I got so much of my early training from her, she just trained us to, you know, the discipline of dance, be on time, be warmed up, do it full out every time you dance. Our hours on Fame were very long, 10 to 12 hour days. And she was quick.
Yeah.
So you have to pick up the choreography. One time she fussed at me because, you know, a camera sees depth. And I was used to giving dancers room. You know, I was used to spacing myself, staggering the line, so if you open your arms, you're not going to. So I'm giving room, and I was in and out of the shot. You see me bobbing in and out. I was wearing it out though, but you couldn't see it. And so she taught me about the difference of the mediums, the difference of being on stage and the difference of being on camera and the way you perform on television versus film and versus, you know, that there's when to give it up, when not to give it up, when you know the camera's on you, when it's not. And coming from a theater background, I was just always giving it up. I was totally unaware of cameras.
Right.
And like, I just noticed those. Are they on? Oh, okay.
Well, is there any, okay, so you left New York, headed to the West Coast. What
Yeah.
was that like?
It was like the Beverly Hillbillies.
Of
You know, when they're
of
coming
course.
down
Yeah.
Sunset Boulevard
Yeah.
and the palm trees, and so exciting. I had, you know, Fame, and there were 9 of us that Debbie brought from New York because she
Wow.
insisted on having New York dancers,
Right.
not LA dancers.
Wow.
And we all stayed in a penthouse in a kind of funky neighborhood, but it was still a penthouse. And there were 9 of us, and pretty soon that penthouse was just trashed, you know, because nobody cleaned up. They just lived there. And it was very exciting, you know, to see people at grocery stores and to run into stars and to be on a lot. The
course.
first time I was on a lot was MGM Lot doing
yeah.
Fame. And I was 18, so I was pretty impressionable, you know.
Yeah. It just, I mean, how was the culture though? New York life, California, it's like night and day. How do you
It is.
adjust? How do you go from?
I didn't adjust that well
Yeah.
because after, okay, at 18, and a lot of you are probably 18, maybe younger, it just seems like an eternity. Like 2 months felt like an eternity to me, and I left Fame. And I felt that I wasn't dancing enough, that I wasn't training enough. I was performing, but I wasn't in class like I was used to at Ailey's. my slot in the company was going to be filled. So I kind of panicked about getting back to New York. So I left an $800 a week job for a $75 a week job and went back to air
Okay.
after 2 months. So I'm only in the very beginning of fame, like 10 episodes of the first year of fame.
Wow, wow, wow.
How did you feel like your first actual like acting role, like besides theater, like getting into acting?
My first, when I'm more a natural actor since my training was in dance and I didn't have techniques and I didn't know terminology, but I knew I could pretend to be like somebody else.
Right.
That I already had. So my first 3 roles were pose. I played prostitute after prostitute after prostitute. And by the 3rd one, I played a prostitute on the soap opera. I played a prostitute on this nighttime thing. And I said to my agent, am I only gonna be a prostitute?
Right.
And what is it about me that now, before I even leave the office, I got the job. She's the one. So, I was a little concerned, that I wasn't, that I had the street thing down, but that I wasn't going to be able to do other kinds of roles, which is why Whitley was so ironic that I would play this very pulled up Southern belle. But if you can act, you can play whatever you're supposed to play. You just need to be complete. You have to give up who you are completely to who that character is.
Yeah. Okay, I want to ask a favor.
Uh-oh.
Can you show us like one move that Debbie showed you just one dance move that you'll never forget?
Okay, this is a very Debbie move.
Just a real Debbie move.
Yes. Let me tell you what Debbie had us doing once. Debbie did do y'all know who Debbie Allen is?
Yes.
Did you see her on So You Think You Can Dance? One of the judges? Did y'all watch that? Okay. So Debbie did a video, this is back in the 80s, of like a workout video with street moves. So I'm gonna show you this is how she did. This was her move, the dolphin. And then you got your little hands. Yes, that's old school. I am 50. This is what was funny about the video. This is how she taught, this is a how-to video. So there was this dance like, she'd be like, open the jar and close the jar. Open the jar and close the jar. And then she's like, go down, pick the apple, eat the apple. That's how she taught it. And so when I look at the video, I'm behind her, because I learned, get behind Debbie and stay in the shot. I am cracking up. I mean, I was trying to be all serious, but then open the jar and close the jar. And this thing, that was in the video. So yeah, I do remember some Debbie moves. Now one famous Debbie move I can't do in this dress was whack. She would whack her head with that leg.
What? Oh
She would
yeah.
stretch of life.
Yeah. I've
So,
seen her do that.
yeah, she
Videos,
could do it
yeah.
now.
Wow.
She had and she was phenomenal on Broadway as well. I saw her in West Side Story. I saw her in Sweet Charity. And one of the greatest moments to me for Debbie was I was walking down Broadway and she was starring in West Side Story in the theater on the right side of Broadway, and a movie she was starring in, JoJo the Dancer, was across the street. And I was like, that's what I want. I want to be in everything. I don't want to be just pigeonholed in one medium. I wanted to be like Shirley MacLaine and Bette Midler and these great, dancers or singers that transferred to film and television.
So what role did you play that you think made the major statement in your career?
Well, for me, I know everybody thinks Whitley was like the big breakthrough thing, but for me, the changing moment in my life was going to New York with the Albert Einstein Scholarship. Because I don't know how I would have gone from high school senior to 55th and Broadway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
on my own because my parents wouldn't have allowed me to go up there with no something.
Right.
Just I'm going to New York.
Right.
You make my way. They weren't going to let that happen.
Right.
So for me, that was the major turning point to get to New York. And then once I did, the level of dancers that I was around was so phenomenal that I was in the base classes of everything.
Wow.
So I went from maybe being a very strong top dancer here in Atlanta to being in fundamental,
Oh,
grand
wow.
fundamental Horton classes
Wow.
and ballet, and it was so humiliating that I was like, I'm gonna be in this class for 1 week. You teach me what you need to teach me, and I'm gonna get it. I would sleep with my feet bound, like the sheet so tight at the bottom that because my feet didn't point like those kids. Let me tell you, those kids in New York that went to PA, which is the performing arts school that fame is based on.
Yep.
I never saw anything like that. I never saw a 15-year-old lift their leg,
Oh, yeah.
go down, and it goes
Oh, yeah.
past, and so I was not dancing like that. I had heart.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But heart don't point your feet.
Right.
I didn't have enough extension,
Right.
so I worked.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Of course. Yeah.
That's all I did was get there an hour before my classes and warm up. I took 3 and 4 classes a day in addition to my rehearsals. I had to catch up
Yeah.
because those 17, 16, 15-year-olds were so much better than me.
What inspired you to go into music? Now I know you studied that in school. That's what you're a performer, so you did music, dance, and acting. But what made you decide to make an album and go into that?
Well, the transition to musical theater was very natural for me, and so I was always the kind of ensemble chorus person that they would hire to understudy a lead because I could sing,
Okay.
but I never would get the lead
Okay.
until after A Different World. So it was my name, my television name, that got me the Chicago role and the things that I probably could have done before, but I didn't have the name. And I always, I partied. I might have left that out, but I partied. So I was always, listening to R&B and funk, and that's the kind of album I wanted to do, and that's the kind of, I wanted a music career. I only did 1 album, but I wanted 3. I don't know where I got 3 from, but 3 would have been very satisfying
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And the music business was very hard business for me. They went by different rules. It was the time when Paula Abdul, Vanessa Williams, Celine Dion first came out. Mariah Carey and our albums came out the same year. Lucky me. But they had me all over the place, kind of imitating sounds that were already being done. Janet.
Okay.
And I said, how am I going to know that's my song?
Right.
You'll hire the same producers from Paula Abdul to do 2 songs on me, the same Vanessa Williams producers do a song on me. So I have 10 songs with 9 different producers.
Wow.
So of your album, like what was your favorite song? Like what could you relate to the most out of the album?
The last song on the album is I Wish You Well, and that was my favorite. And it barely got on there, because of course they didn't like it. They didn't think it would. They wanted me more pop. I wanted to be more R&B and funk.
So what was that
And at
song?
the time, there was a delineation between the. Right now, it's hard for people to understand because of hip hop. Things have merged, but during that time, pop, R&B, it was always talking about crossing over. And
Right.
so black artists was always supposed to cross over, so they're always trying to make you sing a pop song.
Right.
So that you can get that,
It's-
and
yeah.
now it's so different, it's so much more wonderful to me and creative and less color generated.
Who was Whitley Gilbert? Who was the real Whitley Gilbert? What was she like? Who was this?
She is a monster. No. At first, I got to know her after I got the job, because I got the job so fast and I was thrown into the show so quickly, I didn't have time to really digest everything that was going on. The accent came from my third grade teacher.
Okay.